In the late 18th century, Europe stood on the edge of chaos. Kingdoms trembled, empires clashed, and the French Revolution had torn apart the old world order. Out of the fire, a young Corsican artillery officer would rise, brilliant, bold, and unstoppable. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte, and his story would reshape the world. Napoleon rose like a storm. At just 24, he crushed the British at Toulon. At 26, he led a brilliant campaign across Italy, defeating armies twice his size. His soldiers worshipped him, calling him the little corporal, the general who ate, marched, and bled beside them. Napoleon offered France one thing it desperately needed: victory. In 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of the French, a moment that shocked Europe. No revolution, no ancient bloodline, a self-made emperor. He promised order, stability, and glory, but every crown has a price, and Europe was about to pay it. Napoleon dominated the battlefield with speed, deception, and ruthless precision. At Austerlitz, the battle of the three emperors, he shattered the combined Russian and Austrian armies. In just one day, he changed the map of Europe and proved he was the greatest strategist of his era. By 1807, Napoleon controlled most of Europe, either through conquest or alliances. But one enemy refused to collapse: the British Empire. Unable to defeat their navy, Napoleon launched the Continental System, an economic blockade to strangle Britain's trade. But enforcing it would pull Europe into deeper conflict. Spain and Portugal resisted French rule. What should have been a quick occupation turned into a brutal guerrilla war. British forces under Wellington joined the fight. For the first time, Napoleon's empire began to bleed, slowly, relentlessly. In 1812, Napoleon made his greatest gamble, invading Russia with 600,000 men, the largest army Europe had ever seen. But the Russians refused to fight. They burned their own land and retreated deeper and deeper. When the French finally reached Moscow, it was in flames. Winter arrived early. Temperatures dropped to 30 degrees C. Starvation, frostbite, and constant attacks destroyed the army. Only 100,000 men survived the retreat. Europe smelled blood. Prussia, Austria, Russia, and Britain united against Napoleon. At the Battle of Leipzig, the largest battle in European history before World War I, the French Empire began to crumble. In 1814, Napoleon abdicated and was exiled to Elba. The world thought his story was over. They were wrong. Just 10 months later, Napoleon escaped Elba and returned to France. Without firing a single shot, he regained power. Soldiers who were sent to arrest him joined him instead. The people cheered. The emperor had returned for one last battle. On June 18, 1815, near a small Belgian village named Waterloo, Napoleon faced the British under Wellington and the Prussians under Blücher. Mud, rain, and miscommunication plagued the French army. The decisive moment came when Napoleon's Imperial Guard marched forward and was destroyed. For the first time, the Guard broke. The empire was finished. Napoleon was exiled again, this time to the lonely island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. 6 years later, he died, far from the empire he once ruled. Yet his legacy survived. Modern legal systems, military strategy, national identity, and the idea that brilliance, even from humble origins, can reshape the world. The Napoleonic Wars ended more than 2 centuries ago, but the world he reshaped still lives with us today. Empires rise, empires fall, but legends never die.